Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Intro to iOS App Dev workshop. So before we begin, I would like to go over a couple of reminders of our Zoom code of conduct. So firstly, please do not annotate on the slides. Um, Please do not interrupt the speaker. If you have questions at any point during this presentation, please leave it in the chat, and please keep your mics muted at all times unless you are called upon. Also, do not ask the speaker to repeat large chunks of their presentation. Just a reminder that this workshop is being recorded and will be found on our YouTube. Lastly, please refrain from any side or distracting conversations in the chat. Without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to our speaker.
Thank you so much, Angela, for the introduction. So, hello, everyone. Hope everyone's doing great. And basically, thank you for attending today's workshop on iOS development. And I'm so excited for today and to show you the world of Xcode and Swift. So let me just share my screen real quick. Okay. I hope everyone can see it. It's probably loading. So before we get started, I just want to have a side recommendation, kind of like that. Before you get started, get your Xcode ready. Just so you know, this will be a very fast-paced workshop. So I'm gonna maybe go a little fast. I don't know. Okay, I think we can see the screen now. Feel free to refer to the slides as I go, because the links are all in the hack pack and you can take a look whenever you need them. It's okay if you want me to repeat small steps. I would definitely do that. Please just drop it in the chat. But yeah, let's get started. I will be monitoring the chat the entire time, so no worries. If you don't understand anything, just let me know. So this is our agenda today. Here's what we're going to learn. I'll be covering the basics of iOS development with Swift, and we're going to create a simple app about ourselves. So that should be pretty cool. Maybe some of you have had the experience with HTML, CSS, those kind of front-end web design. Well, you're in luck, because today with app design, it's kind of similar, but maybe even kind of more simple, I would say. So it's kind of like the storyboard thing over here. I talked about storyboard navigation. It's arguably even more easier than raw HTML. So you're gonna see what I mean in a sec. And lastly, I would love to introduce to you to the concept of MVP. So that's minimal viable product, but I'll talk about that later. So yeah, lastly, I might do a Q&A session if we want that, but that would be it. So here's our part one. Our part one is just, let's get straight ahead to app making, get your Xcode ready, and open the app and I'll guide you through the steps. Are we ready? Anyone need more time with Xcode? Because yeah, get your app ready, and while we're waiting, let me show you the goal of our app. So this is the goal of our app. Basically, it's an MVP, but I'll talk about that later. Here's what our app's going to look like. It's an aesthetically pleasing self-intro app, and you're the graphic designer, so this looks kind of basic, but I'm sure it will look better later. So if you have your Xcode ready, let's get started, shall we? Here are the slides. So whenever you're ready, I'm gonna share my desktop. So here, can everyone look at the Xcode thingy? I hope so. So click on create a new Xcode project right here. So if everyone can click on that part. It's gonna take a while because this is your first time setting up. It might take a while, but just hang in there. We have all the time in the world. So this is what you should get click on the app, on iOS app, and then click on next. I'm gonna call this app self-intro. So you can make it like, you can have a space in between, but make sure don't add like a literal space. Just this would be okay. So this is my self-intro app. I'm gonna call my organization SuperPOSITRON, I think that's the name. So SuperPOSITRON, self-intro. You can just ignore all this. Take a look at over here. This is what you want. Interface, storyboard, please, for the team and organization. Identify whatever you need, but then please choose storyboard. And then I'm gonna click on next. Storyboard UI Kit Swift. So choose a place you want to create your app, and then on your location on your Mac. And then we're gonna get started with just designing our iOS app. It's gonna take a while. Don't stress about it. It's gonna be fine. So save your project anywhere, and let's head on to main.storyboard. So are we ready? Anyone, can you give me a thumbs up in the participant panel, if you're ready, with over whatever we have over here. Thanks, Mumtaz. Hopefully you're ready. Thanks, Ashley. Thanks, Natalia. Okay, gotcha. So assuming you have your thingy ready, let's click on main.storyboard right over here. Thanks everyone, gotcha. This is gonna be fun because what we're about to do is no coding required. We're gonna design our storyboard and yeah, design how your app's gonna look like. So this is the main.storyboard over here. There we go. So if you have this, please, you're on the right track. It says view as iPhone 11. So mine's iPhone 11. You can change whatever device you're on. An iPhone 12. I'm gonna change it to an iPhone 12 because I'm using an iPhone 12. So change it as like whatever phone you want it to be on. Also over here. So look at here, on top, it's the iPod Touch. Take a look at here. It's the simulator. We're gonna take a look at our phone screen after we finish the app. So over here, change it to iPhone 12 or whatever device you need. So they should match over here. So this is what you should have, and you can use an iPhone 8 if you want, but here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna add labels, we're gonna add images, and we're gonna add another phone screen. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna click on the plus button up here. Can anyone see it? Can everyone see it? It's a plus button. That's called the objects library. So we're gonna use the objects library to design whatever items we need on the phone screen. So over here, click on the plus sign. This panel should pop up. So I'm gonna take a look at the label over here. Label is kind of like a text box. So whatever you need, some text, some words, some numbers to display, use the label. I'm gonna drag it and then I'm gonna drop it. And then double click the label and type whatever you need. So I'm gonna write welcome to my app, like that, okay? Welcome to my app. This is my first label. So I'm gonna click on the plus button again and then get whatever I need. I'm gonna drag my label again. I'm gonna say, what should I put in? This is Veronica's. So hopefully you got that figured out, and just gonna put it here. So repeat the process, get whatever you need, a few labels. We're gonna need one button, okay? We're gonna need one button. So this button's gonna call next page. This button is gonna guide the user to the next phone screen we need. So yeah, I'm gonna click on the plus. This time I'm gonna add an image. So how do I put an image to my phone screen? to my, this is called view controller. So I'm gonna type in image. It says image view. So search in your objects library, click on the plus button, search image, drag, and then drop. See? No coding required at all. So here's the labels, the image view. We've got both of them settled. Now I'm gonna get another view controller. View controller is just a fancier term for iPhone screen. So here, this is my first page, the draft. This is my draft of the layout, the most simplest layout ever, but yeah. I'm gonna search view controller. It's just a fancier term for a phone screen. Search it, you'll find it. So I'm gonna drag, and then I'm gonna drop. I'm gonna put it exactly next to my home page, like that. I'm gonna align it a little better so it looks kind of cute over here. Yeah, so I have two phone screens now. I'm gonna click on plus button. I'm gonna get another label. Hi, nice to meet you. So this is my second phone screen. So this is our setup. I think that's basically it. So I'm gonna give you like 3 minutes to add some buttons, some labels, some images to your phone screen. Yeah. This is what I would like you to end up with at this process. Once you're done, give me an emoji in the chat box, okay? So this is what I want you to have. Just a few labels, an image, a button, a second page. That's it. So I'm gonna wait till maybe 1 more minute. Would that be okay? This is like the basic version of an app, an iOS app, but you know, with a little touch up, with a little color, it's gonna look beautiful. If you want me to repeat something, feel free, but if you're done, let me know by dropping an emoji. This is just what I had when I was doing my draft. So this is a label. The blue ones, they're buttons. And lastly, we've got an empty gray image box where I'm going to put my image in. So it doesn't have to be too intricate or too like fancy. Something basic will be okay. So assuming you need more time, I'm gonna wait till 12:20. I mean 3:20. So once you're done, drop in a chat. Any questions you can ask me too. So if you need any help with dragging and dropping and then the buttons. So are we okay so far? If you're done, or if you're ready to move on, please give me an emoji. Thanks. Thanks, Natalia. Yep. What app are we using to create it? This is Xcode. So right over here, Xcode is actually an iOS platform. Like it's a Mac OS platform built for your Apple apps. So you can make anything you want with Xcode, just for Apple products only though. So that's kind of annoying. I know Apple is like that sometimes, but it's fun. It's still like if you're an Apple fan like I am, this is going to be very helpful for your app creation. So it's just not for websites, it's for Apple products, but it looks really cool. So yeah, I see a lot of people saying you're done. Let's move on to our next step. So this is the step 2. Okay, step 2, we're gonna put an image on our home screen. So over here, right now we have a really ugly empty gray box, not exactly what we want. We're gonna change that. We're gonna change that into anything you want. So the first step is open the assets folder. So right over here, the assets folder. Under your main.storyboard, you have assets right over here. Click on it. It's gonna look pretty sad because it's all gray and gloomy, but here's what we're gonna do. We are going to go to our, find your picture. Remember I told you to get a picture before our workshop. So I'm gonna head on to my documents and then my pictures, I'm gonna use this picture. I'm gonna use swag. So in your Finder or on your desktop, just drag your image, drag your photo. I'm gonna drag it. Whoops, I'm gonna drag it. I'm gonna drop it right over here. So there we go. There we have it. I'm gonna do this one more time. So I'm gonna pick an image. I'm gonna use this one. I'm gonna use this one. Okay. So I'm gonna drag and I'm gonna drop it like that. So once you're done, the picture should be over here. Should be right on your assets, right in your assets folder. So drag, then drop. Well, assuming you have one picture and you're dragging and dropping your assets folder. Assets is kind of like resources. It's like resource for your app. So that's why we're putting an image there. Let's go back to the main storyboard and take a look at our empty sad container. So once you're done with your assets, with your picture in the folder right over here, go back to main storyboard, click on the image folder, and take a look at your panel, the right-hand side panel. This is the panel we want to take a look at. Instead, if you can't see your panel for some reason, click on the little icon over here. So I'm gonna put it here. It's on the left-hand side. Image. Click on the little blue button. Your picture should be here. Okay. So let me go to the next slide. So this is the empty image container. Click on it over at the panel over here. it's the first roll. So just click on the image you dropped. It should be there. If it's not, tell me. I'll show you. So this is how I'm gonna put it here. Okay. So in case you want to make another one on your second page, I'm gonna put one more gray box to my second page. So I'm gonna click on the plus sign, type view controller. Oh wait, sorry, type image. So this thing, I'm gonna drag and then I'm gonna drop. Right there. So this time I'm gonna make I'm gonna make way for the just design layouts, you know. So this is kind of like easier than HTML, I would say, because HTML you have to hard code everything, and in CSS, you know. But for Swift, for Xcode, all you gotta do is just design. It's just design work. So I'm gonna select my image over here. It's right over the attributes panel. Take a look at my directions on the PowerPoint. It's on the right. So click on the fifth button, this fifth button, click on the first roll, and then you can find your image. So right over here. That's it. So hopefully you're able to do that. This is what you should end up with. So like an image and the words, two screens. It's gonna look quite plain, but should be okay. So I'm gonna give you 4 more minutes to get to this step. Take a look. Your image, if it's too small, you can drag it by controlling the squares, you know, drag it as large as you need, but that's too big. So I'm gonna put it just like that. Don't worry, we're gonna change our background color and our text color later. But let's design our app first. You can also change the font because the font is really ugly right now. But trust me, we're gonna change it later. So this is what I have right now with my kind of simple, but you know, simple yet easy to navigate app. I'm gonna change my text here too. So this is a label. I'm gonna change it to these are my fave albums. Okay, just like that. So if you have any questions, don't feel scared. Just tell me, drop in a chat, unmute yourself, tell me if I need to repeat anything, but this should be okay. Once you're done, give me an emoji again so I know we're on track. I know we are ready to move on. It's right over here, an image view, image, blue button over here. If you can't find your attributes panel, probably you clicked on this button, it's going to hide itself. But if you want it to pop up, click on this button again. It should be here. Are we ready? So for today's, I'm assuming you're making a self intro app, so you can make this picture of yourself, and this could be some fun facts about you, kind of like mine over here. This is my demonstration of a self intro app. So the next part we're going to do is to make these two screens connect because we haven't connected them. The next step we're going to do is actually just to use this button to go to the next page and use this button to go back to the home page. So that's that. So far, so good. If you need help, drop in the chat. If you don't, and if you're done, give me an emoji. But I will wait for maybe 2 more minutes to finish up your design. Thanks, Mumtaz. If you're done, you can tell me. If you're not, I can show you one more time. So I can click on the plus sign. So the objects library, we've got loads of stuff, a lot of cool stuff in here. But we're gonna focus on the simpler ones first. So I'm gonna search for image. I'm gonna drag and drop it under here. So we have a question in chat. Once we design something on Swift, do we not code it with a programming language? Yes, we do. We're not going to cover the coding part today because we don't have too much time, but there's actually a Swift file here. And this is your classic coding stuff. See, you've got your class. You can make like a var me equals to my name, var, something like that. And you're gonna connect them. You're able to connect them with your view controller. I mean your storyboard. So there's actually coding stuff involved. But for today, I'm only covering the UI design because that's like the most simplistic part of our app making journey. But if you want to get into the nitty-gritty parts, feel free to like DM me, or if you're interested in making functionable backend stuff. It's quite simple. We just don't have the time to cover today. But yeah, thank you for a question. I love your adventurous attitude. I can click on the image over here. Yep, I'm gonna click on the image over here. You can even use these, the weird stuff provided by Apple, but I don't like the trash can. So, you can make it whatever you need. I'm gonna delete this one. So if you want to delete anything, just click on backspace to delete it. Once you're done, are we ready to move on? I hope we are. Let me just go to the last part of our design. The very last part we're going to do is just to connect the 2 pages. So assuming you have 2 buttons over here, if you don't, make one right now. One's called home page, one's called go back, whatever you need. So name the buttons whatever you want, it doesn't matter. The tricky part is that we're going to control and then drag from the button to the next screen. That's going to make the button kind of functionable. We're going to give the button a purpose. So once you're ready, get your button over here. So this is my button. I'm calling it next page. What I'm going to do is click on control, use my left hand. My left hand is going to click on control. So I'm going to click on control and then I'm going to drag like that. See? So the trick is to click on control and then drag it like that. So once you have that done, click on show. That's it. That's all you need. So again, I'm going to do this again. So have your button, control, and then drag, and then click on show. Another thing, like over here, let's do this one more time. Control, and then drag, and then click on show, the first one. That's it. And there we have it. This is kind of like the functioning app we have. So the little gray panel, click on show, the arrow. So this is the arrow I'm referring to. This is the arrow, 2 blue arrows. So you can repeat the same steps for the other part, and that's it. That would be our first app. Looks kind of basic, I know, but we're gonna change that later. So I finished. I have finished my button setup. I'm gonna click on this button over here, the play button. I clicked on it and it says building. So once you're done with the segue, done with the buttons, control dragging it to the next screen, you can click on the play button. What this does is actually it's going to test the app in a thing called simulator. It's a really weird thing. It's going to blow your mind the first time you take a look at it, because like it's your brand new app. It's in a fake phone. It's going to look wonderful, but it's going to take a while because maybe this is your first time using Xcode. It says build succeeded. It says build succeeded. That means it's ready. It's gonna pop up on your screen. So once again, talking about the coding part, you can actually make a functionable like text field. It's gonna like kind of like Instagram. Someone can type in something and then the screen like Xcode receives the text, the string of stuff you've written, and it's gonna parse out some cool stuff. That's possible, but we're not gonna cover it today because it's kind of too complicated. Because like, yeah, take a look at over here, my panel. This is the fake simulator we're talking about. The app is loading. So hopefully once you have finished everything, with the buttons, control and then drag it. Once you finish that, you can click on the little play button, and then I'm gonna run my app. So it says iPhone 12. This is what my fake iPhone looks like. It's got the buttons and everything. Take a look at over here. See, I even have like the nitty-gritty setting stuff, everything. But since this is the first time I'm loading my app, it's still kind of funky. Yes, Natalia. I can show you later. I can tell you where to learn your stuff. It's kind of like in the hack pack. I talked about it in the hack pack. But if you're interested in learning all the backend stuff of Xcode, there is a summer camp for you to join. It's over, but you can join it next year, or you can take a look with the websites. The website's called Learn Hacking with Swift. So yes, you can code with Swift. Yes, you can. My app is still loading. Maybe yours is too. But you know, while we're at it, you can take a look at your fake phone. Your fake phone is kind of funny. You can click on settings. Everything is in there. It's kind of cool. Yeah, thanks for your question. I'm gonna show you later. Don't worry. Remember when like on my self intro, like the first panel, I'm an instructor assistant at a summer camp. It's called Code with Flossy. I'm gonna show you. No worries. It's in the hack pack. The link is there. But you know, if you want to play with like cool functions and then like, you know, this is kind of like the cool stuff with Swift. So these are like the super cool coding, but I'm not going to cover that today because see, my app is ready. So I'm going to click on next page. This is the next page. I'm going to click on back. So yeah, there we have it. So previously I made my self intro app. It's here. So this is my other app. I've changed the font and the background. I'm going to show you that how to do that later. So this is my label. You can put in emojis for your labels. But this is I made like a cuter font. It's kind of like the Instagram stories. You know, this is how it works. So in your simulator, everything should look very nice. Everything looks like a real, like what you're looking in your storyboard. And that's it. So if you have the segue, like the little arrows, the gray arrows, that means your connections are ready. The screens are gonna change, just like that. Next page, back, next page, back, an endless loop. So I'm gonna wait for your app to load maybe. So while we're waiting, I'm gonna talk about how to make your app prettier. Okay? So, the stuff I'm talking about today is also covered in the summer camp. But right now, I just want to give you like a brief intro, a brief, like kind of like a taste of how it works. So, yeah, I'm going to click on this label. So, right now, it's kind of ugly. The font and the color is kind of basic. So, what I'm going to do over here is take a look at the attributes panel. So, this panel. I'm gonna click on the T, the little font T, the little T over here. So click on the T. Once the T has loaded, this should be like the little gray panel. I'm gonna change the font to custom. So this is the custom font thingy. Font family. If you have done HTML before, I bet you're like familiar with what font family means. So see, we have so many fonts on your computer. What should I change? I should change it to I like Rockwell. I'm gonna change it to Rockwell. So you can't see your font just yet. That's because you haven't changed the size. I'm gonna put my size into 20. So click on done. There we have it. So I'm gonna make this bigger. So again, click on the little T over here. I'm gonna make it 25. There we go. And then if you want to change the color, it's over here, highlighted. I'm gonna change the color to, purple or indigo. So if you want to custom your color, here's how. So wait, it's not showing. Okay. Should be here, color. So for color, click on the little drop down menu. There should be a bunch of like pre-existing colors. So you can use those colors. If you don't like those colors, you can custom. So click on custom. The color we use should pop up. Choose whatever color you want. I'm gonna make this darker. So perfect. I like this color. So once you're done, just cross it out, I think. Yeah, that should be it. So you can make your text box bigger. I'm gonna make my music app. I'm gonna change the name to this. Okay. Okay. So once again, let me change my font. So click on the text box. This should pop up. Click on T. Click on font, custom, family. Change it to, what was it? I forgot. Rockwell. Yes, Rockwell. And then I'm going to change the size to whatever I want. Click on done. And there we have it. So this is how you change your the font and the color. I'm going to change it to this one. Boom, done. So even your buttons, change your buttons too, so it's prettier. So text color, I'm going to make it to this weird pastel rose color. Change T, font, custom. So right now we're kind of like writing an app. It's like kind of like a user interface. No, we're not doing any crazy coding stuff. But if you're interested in that, there is a way. So this is how my homepage is gonna look like. Over here, I'm gonna change it too. I hope you're doing that. If you have any problems, tell me. But yeah, for the rest of the time, like maybe 10 minutes, let's just do whatever you want with your app, make it prettier, make it colorful, you know. Sometimes your app is gonna, like your label is gonna show up like this. So the 3 dots, which is very ugly. What you wanna do is actually expand the label, expand it. But once you have expanded it, it still looks ugly because it's smaller. What you wanna do is go to the lines. Over here at lines, make it 2, okay? You can also change the alignment like that. So now we have 2 pretty lines, I would say. It's all about the customization. Cool. One small thing, your computer might be overheating right now. Same, my computer is getting very loud, like the fan. It's totally normal. Your computer is kind of like annoying, like annoyed by you and Xcode, but that's just how, because it's like a very large app. So yep. It's totally normal if your computer's freaking out or anything. Um, you know, it would be okay later, like after we finish the project. So once you're done with the customization, wait, let me change this button too. For the most part, if you're not coding like a user interactive app, this is all you need. This is all you need with like your self intro app. But if you really want to do like taking in information, parsing them, that's also doable. This is not gonna cover it today. So once you're done with the customization, just click the play button, the run button up there. Cool, that's it. So lastly, last thing I want to introduce, last part that's also quite fun, is to change your background color. It is possible to change your background to an image, but it's kind of complicated. So I'm just gonna teach you how to change the background color. So let's do it. Ignore the error. I have no idea why it's there, but if my app's working, I don't care. So that's what we're gonna do. So click on the phone screen, just an empty part, an empty white part. Don't click on the like this label itself. Click on the screen. Click on the view controller. So click on that, and over here it says background. So I'm gonna make it into this color. So just click on custom. I'm gonna custom make my background into a lighter, maybe like that. Hey, that's a cool color. Okay. So once you have your color, just cross it out. Here is my pretty app. So once you're done, just click on the other screen and make it a different color too. So custom. I'm gonna make this color. Oh wait, once I change my color, my background will be kind of ugly. because like this picture has a white background. It's not transparent. So that would be a little problem. You know what? I'm just going to make it slightly blue like that. So it's less obvious. So that's it. That's all we need for our app. I'm going to run it. So once you're done with the customization, run it, and there you have it, your new app. You can also play around with the simulator. I think I took like 10 minutes just exploring what you can do with this fake phone because it's super fun. So yeah, that's my app. I just made an app in like half an hour. You know, you can drag the stuff on top. You can do that. The camera doesn't work though, because this is not an actual phone. So the camera doesn't work. But everything else works. That's it. That's your brand new app. You see, no coding required. This is just a storyboard. You can just customize whatever you need. You know, if you're feeling cool, you can drag one more view controller by using the plus button. You can drag one more view controller, you know, over here. Just drag it. Oh, like super simple. But if you're not into that, just focus on the first 2 pages and you'll be fine. So that's it. So I'm gonna wait till maybe 55. So at 3:55, I'm gonna begin my second part, which is an exploration on what's in MVP. So kind of like about how we create a beautiful app in the project management sense. So I'm gonna give you a few more minutes. Any questions you want? If you want to ask any additional functions you want, I can show you how to, you know, how do you add a switch? You can add a switch like that, but you got to use code to make it functional. But for now, I don't have the time to show you how to make it functional. You can add one if you want to. Any questions? Questions welcome. You can also play around with your simulator. That's pretty cool. So the summer camp I was talking about, let me show you. This is Chloe Flossie. It's an organization. It's a charity organization founded by a model called Carly Kloss, if you've heard of her. So I'm not sponsored. I'm just recommending. This is a cool summer camp that's free. It's a 2-week program teaching you all about web development or app development. There's also data science. So if you're interested in that, feel free to sign up next summer. I'm an instructor assistant, so I teach, like help the teacher to teach people. And it's a very fun program. You meet new friends. It's an amazing community. Kind of like a hackathon, but 10 days if you think about it, because you make a final project and it's super fun. But yeah, that's a plug. If you're done with your app, you can save it. I think it auto saves. So if you just click on Command S, it's gonna save on your laptop. No worries. If you are done, you're ready to move on, make your last final touches. After the program, you can also do whatever you want with it. And if you want any help with coding, tell me on Discord. There's so much stuff to discover in Xcode. An hour, I can't cover everything within an hour. So what are similar code camps that you recommend? Thanks for a question. I've done like the JavaScript free coding bootcamp. That was fun. It's like not as in depth though. So that one's just a fun class you can take. But for camps, Girls Who Code offers great camp programs. The one I talked about, Code with Classy, the one I was talking about, I was there. I've joined that program like 5 times. So I highly recommend that one. But if you want to do something after school, I don't think a camp would meet all your needs, because camps are like, a concentration, kind of like during the summer. So if you want to take classes, just go on like Python, like that website. I think you've got sponsors this time with this hackathon. You can also do like, classes like what's that, Skillshare masterclass, those kind of stuff. Those are paid though. So the one I was talking about, Code with Classy, that one's free. If you want the link to everything, just go to my hack pack. So my hack pack, I gave you like a few learning with Swift websites. So that one's cool. I think it's called Hacking with Swift. So I think that's one. Code with Classy offers, I think, two or three programs. There's data science, there's app development, and web page design. So that's HTML, CSS, that's Swift, and that's SQL. I am responsible for app development because I love Xcode. I love doing like these stuff, and it's super beginners friendly. That's why I highly recommend joining the program. But see, there we have it, your first app. Show it to your friends. Show this cool simulator to your mom. I love it. Yeah, that's it. So thanks. That would be the end of the demonstration. But for the next like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I'm gonna talk about MVP. This you wouldn't want to miss this part, because honestly, this is like very helpful with hackathons. Okay, this is going to be super helpful for your next hackathon and even for this one. So if your friend, your teammate, it's not here yet, tell them about MVP, because this is going to help you with what you're going to learn, what you're going to do for the hackathon. So if I have my slides ready, cool. What you didn't notice actually is that we have already created an MVP in the process. So it would be great if you could just put down Xcode, put down the app we did just now and listen, because it's not going to take too long. It's not a lecture. I'm just explaining some cool concepts that most app developers know. This is going to, impact the course of our app making. So what we've done for the past like 15 minutes is to create an MVP for your self-intro app. And it's not looking like the sharpest app ever. It's still like a working progress. We're still like updating constantly, but I want to show you like why are we making a basic app first and then an intricate app later. So take a look at this one. This is like kind of like a metaphor of what I'm trying to explain. So the first guy over here, he's trying to build a car, right? So for his first step, his second step, and his third step, he's not making an actual car. He's just building wheels, essentially. If you follow the steps of the first guy, you're not going to end up with a fully functioning car until the fourth step. So if you show the first two stuff to your investors, they're going to be like, oh, what are you trying to make? That's not even a vehicle. Like, you're just pulling up two wheels. Like, your investors are not going to be happy with this one. However, we take a look at this second guy over here. So we've got the first a little skateboard, and then a scooter, a bike, a motorcycle, and finally a car. So like that, it's like a work in progress. He hasn't completed the project in his first 4 steps, but then he could also use these skateboards and the bikes and stuff to show his investors that, hey, this is what I'm working on. It's not fully finished. I'm still working on it, but my investors, they're gonna like it, because the MVP concept is kind of like the second guy. Instead of wasting all your time and effort to create a prototype grandiose like this one, you can just start out with a simple project like this one. You can just work really smart, like work smart, not work hard, right? Just create just start small and map out your future iterations for investors to see. So this is essentially what I'm trying to explain. It's an MVP. So let me break down like what MVP actually means. So this is minimal viable product, MVP. It's a product that's with enough features to attract investors and validate your product early in the product development cycle. So you don't finish the entire project, but people are going to love it. It's like, I love your idea. You're not finished, but I'm going to invest in it. Note that I'm going to use the words product and app interchangeably, but just know that I'm talking about your thing, even your website, your engineering project, your AI, anything. So for a hackathon, you don't have to build your entire app in like 3 days, right? You can just build the fundamental features. Even for now, for your self-intro app, what if you just a crazy idea, you can make your app that's like pairing to your HTML website. So it's going to be like it can work together. It's kind of like an app version of your website. So that's possible too. Since we don't have all the time in the world, you should focus on perfecting your basic features first, and then you can plan out your future iterations afterwards. So this is like how developers work on their app. It lets you to build like a product in a timely and like economically sustainable manner. So you don't have to invest all your time and all your money and all your capital on something that's not even like fully mapped out, right? So it's all about time and money and convenience. This is like what professional developers do with their project. So here's how, like the specifics. This is the project/app design cycle. Building an app is not just about writing code, okay? So it's like a process that includes careful consideration, research, design, coding, etc., etc. So most developers would use something called an app design cycle to make the project come true. So take a look at this one, just read it yourself. I would say like for our mini self-intro project just now, we have already finished step 1, 2, and 3, right? We haven't tested it fully, but it was just 15 minutes, so we don't have the time. But you know what? This is like, I'm just leaving it all to you. You can test out your app, you can test out your website, show it to your audience, to your mom, your friends, and then you can work on how to perfect your app and iterate later. So I'm not asking you to finish an entire Instagram in just an hour. Starting small and then working on your like baby steps, kind of like that. That's how project developers do. Project management. That's how project management works. So here's how I want to talk about how you prototype, how you wireframe. I don't know if this is your first time learning about the word wireframing, but wireframing is essentially like one part of prototyping. It's like a minimal working prototype. So note that's going to be very important in professional app development. You're going to know like after wireframing your app, you're going to know what to make, what to design, what's the design before you do the actual coding. If you just go straight into coding without a plan, it's going to look really messy. I've done that before. I didn't fully map out what I was going to do. I'm just going to drag and drop. It's not going to work. So, just if you do wireframing, take a look at like these points: layout, alignment, weight and balance. You got to figure out the color scheme of your app or your website. You should like figure out what's your aiming, what you're aiming for essentially. So you don't CBH, like I know we're like still kind of beginners, kind of like amateurs in a sense, but for me personally, I would suggest you to go all out and do whatever you want for the wireframe. Don't be afraid to like, oh, I can't do that realistically, or it's not executionable. You know what? It's fine, because you want to show your investors or your family and friends that that's your ultimate goal. Doesn't matter if you can't achieve it. It's just, this is what my idea of my app, the concept. Just have it like fully visualized before you actually do the coding. So here's a pro tip for those who are interested in iOS design, because iOS, honestly, best UI ever. Don't argue, because this is literally an iOS app dev workshop. I love the the interface. That's why people like prefer Apple over Android. It's all about the interface. So for Figma is like one of the sponsors, I think, for this hackathon, and I really suggest like doing the iOS UI kit. So this is the thing Figma offers. It's really handy when it comes to designing professionally. And although I'm not like sponsored, like me personally, I'm not sponsored. I really recommend trying out the Figma iOS kit, because it looks super cool. I mean, honestly, I don't think we can work to this level professionally in Xcode, because this takes like hours and hours of work, and the actual like Apple development people, the app developers, they are actually doing the the professional stuff. For us, we're just gonna utilize the templates. We can do that in Xcode too, but you've got to learn how to use them. I'm just suggesting like Figma is really useful when it comes to designing your dream app. Okay, so this is kind of fun. But when it comes to okay, thanks Natalia for a question. Can you export your Figma designs? For Figma to fully function, you have to hard code it. You can't export it whatsoever. You can't just like copy and paste the pictures of Figma to your Xcode. I don't think that's possible. But you can use your Figma layout as the blueprint. Get it? As just the idea of what it's gonna be. It's just a sketch of how it's gonna work. So if you take a look at like these, if you like zoom in and take a look at the stuff Figma offers, it's really, really intricate. And honestly, if you want to code it out in Xcode, it's gonna take a while. And by a while, I mean maybe 72 hours, because you gotta like figure out how to use them. I'm not saying it's not possible though. In our summer camp, we actually made a to-do list. Kind of less pretty than this one, but still executionable, still doable. It took approximately 3 hours to make the to-do list. We made hard code functions. We made 3 to 4 view controllers. It would be kind of intricate, but it's fun, and you're gonna make like it's possible, even for us, for beginners. So yeah, that would be, I hope that answers your question. You can't copy and paste it, but you can use it as a basis, as a base of what we want to aim. So remember when I told you like not to worry about how to execute your prototype, because it's just a prototype. You can dream big. So now we're going to talk about how to actually execute it. The reason why we're doing prototype like first and then MVP second is to make sure you don't create an MVP at the expense of functionality and creativity. So I don't want you to think, oh, my skills aren't that high, so whatever, I'm just gonna make like a really basic app. No, that's not what we're aiming for. We're aiming for an actual like really cool $1 million idea. As for your MVP, just use your wireframes and your style guides later to like, create an executable MVP. So what I'm saying is, I want you in this hackathon to say, I want to build a Ferrari. I want to build a Lamborghini. I want to build amazing sports car. But with my skills right now, I can build maybe a scooter. So here's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you my scooter right now. It's just a scooter. It still works. It still works, but then it's not a Lamborghini, But I think your investors would be very happy to see that you are taking a step ahead and like plan out your future, even if it doesn't happen. It's just a dream. So of course, planning is super important. This is what I've been talking about for the past 10 minutes. I want you to fully like visualize or realize your project, your app, your website, your whatever you're working on, your AI. Just start small, dream big. This is my ultimate takeaway. So I don't want you to limit yourself. That's basically it. Lastly, we're almost there. Just take note of how you're gonna create your MVP, your minimum viable product. Off the record, if you know what you're doing and you're 100% confident, you can skip the MVP wireframing, but this really helps you in understanding what you can do, and what you can't do. So using these arrows, using these layouts, using everything like these, you don't have to worry about stylistic details. You just have to work on your arrows and buttons and labels, just to have a clear idea. And finally, building and testing. This is like the most likely your hardest part. You're gonna encounter so many obstacles when it comes to bugs and errors. I'm sure you've been there. If you're not if you have dabbled in code a few times before, you're gonna encounter weird bugs and errors. It's inevitable. But then just remember, like, you can use online forums like Stack Overflow, you can use templates, you can use YouTube, and Google is your best friend. Because this is what professional iOS developers do. Like, even if they're sitting in Silicon Valley, they have to utilize their peers, their engineers. It's totally normal to ask for help. And then lastly, you just run and test your product and reach your goals of your MVP and map out what future like modifications you need. So this is what I was talking about, the text view. This is what I did like last week with this is The Office. And what's your favorite show? Just type in and then submit. That involves coding. The coding that involves, but just now we didn't do anything with the Swift files. But this is what, like, when it comes to text views, when it comes to user interactiveness of your app, you're going to need coding. But I wouldn't say that the thing we did just now isn't coding, because you're still making really intricate designs. It's just the beginners way of making your app. So assuming you've completed your MVP, assuming that your MVP is like amazing and you're ready to pitch your app, there will always be future iterations. And this is the key part. You can't just show people a scooter and say, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna make a sports car one day. It's gonna work for sure. People won't believe you because you're not doing executionable, planning, right? So there will always be future iterations and other functions to add in your app onto your app. But as always, we don't want you to jump from a scooter to a sports car. We want you to jump from a scooter to maybe a bike to a motorcycle and finally a car, right? You have to do baby steps, step-by-step iterations. This is what you're going to do within those 3 days. I'm sure you can't make $1 billion app in 3 days, but I'm sure you can make a little baby version of that. So take a look at all the apps in your app store, right? They have patches and fixes and errors and upgrades, software upgrades. They always happen, right? Those are kind of like future iterations. So I'm not joking when I tell you this is what professional people do in their daily life. Like, Apple, Microsoft, Google, they also have to plan out their future iterations. They have to push the app out before the deadline without actually completing it. It's always a work in progress. So the final stage of creating your MVP is to refine and test and tell your people, tell your audience that this is not the end. Explain to them, this is what I'm able to do in 3 days, but trust me, give me a month and I'll show you what I'm going to make. This is kind of like how you pitch, public speaking 101. Just instill confidence into your audience. After finishing your project, just tell them what additional functions you want to make. Make sure you're able to do it and do enough research to make it happen, right? This is what I could do in maybe in 2 hours. Just now we had an hour, so I couldn't make a text feud, but show people this is what I'm gonna do. This is what happens when you give me $10 and you give me a month. I'm gonna make this happen for you. So that's it. It took we might not take 1.5 hours. We're almost there. And that's basically it. I hope you've learned a few things in this iOS app dev workshop. Now you can go ahead and play with your Xcode and storyboards because it's super fun. Trust me. If you have any questions with your Xcode, with the buttons, and if you want additional features, just hit me up on Discord. And as well as just brainstorming your MVP. Tell your teammates, tell your friends what you want to aim within these 3 days, right? Wait, I'm not finished. I still have one slide to go at Aline and Natalia, but I'm okay. No hard feelings. Just tell your friends about the MVP concept. Just tell them, it's not always, we can't complete everything within these 3 days, but we can always perfect them and we can always try to make it better. It's a work in progress. So just stay in touch. Feel free to do wireframing, do view controllers, do whatever you need for your app or your website for your project. I wish you all good luck in your future endeavors and projects. Take whatever you learned today and create your next product. Maybe after the hackathon, you want to make an app. And I'm very excited for that if you want to tell me. So we're almost there. If you have any Q&A session, if you want to, you can ask me anything right now. Here's your chance. One last plug, join Code of Flossy next summer if you wanna. It's super fun. You're gonna make a beautiful app, and this is just a taste of what we do for iOS app development. In a course of 2 weeks, a month, or maybe in your computer science class, you can make something even better. So imagine that. We already made a simple app within an hour, so I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's it with me. If you have anything to ask, find me over at these platforms. Oh wait, sorry. These platforms. Feel free to find me. I have a blog. I hard coded it with HTML, CSS, so that's pretty fun. And yeah, find me on LinkedIn. Find me email, Discord, Instagram, whatever. Yeah, that's basically it. Join Code of Flossy. Join. If you want any more Swift help, help with classes, I can drop some links in Discord. Let me just do my research and stuff. Yeah, the stuff I covered today is app development. You can, if you want to learn more, yeah, join the summer camp. It's free. Join, at me on Instagram. I can help you with other cooler functions with Xcode. But whoops, that's basically it for me. So if you have no questions, I think you're cool.
Thank you so much for your time and for presenting today. To our attendees, just a reminder that there are activities for you guys tonight, and thank you for attending.
Bye.